All right, hello everybody. It is 9:02 p.m. Central Time. I am sitting in a San Antonio hotel room with Michael of Video Game Chooch, and Mike Casamano, noted internet fiend, and we are here tonight to record a quick kind of overview of our experience at PAX South 2018, and my god, Michael is flickering the light in this room, and I am going to have a migraine triggered if he does not stop that.
It's the haunted convention!
Yeah, this convention is cursed.
Yeah, that's no exaggeration. This convention has been a trial. It's been a real ordeal.
It's been a tribulation.
It's been a brouhaha.
It's been a cavalcade of clowns, if you will.
Yeah.
So we're here tonight to kind of do a little wrap up, I suppose, put a bow on the whole experience. Kind of purge our negative emotions about things that have occurred at this convention.
I just did that in the bathroom 15 minutes ago.
Great. Well, the us other two don't have the privilege of evacuating our emotions via
our assholes.
Yes, thank you, Michael. I didn't want to be too blue on this podcast.
No, I got it.
This podcast is going to be raunchy.
I don't like where this is going.
It's been a long weekend.
Literally, it really has. Would either of y'all like to discuss the sort of tales that brought you here to San Antonio?
We're gonna talk about video games, and then everything is on the table.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then let's talk about video games. So, it's PAX South. It's not the biggest game show of all time, but there's some really good indie titles here. Capcom was here. Tiny Build was here. We saw some really great smaller titles. So if one of y'all wants to go ahead and kind of highlight something that you've seen at the show, then by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, the best thing I saw by far was this little game called Kentucky Route Zero. It's the game of the fuck's sake. The game of the year for 2018.
You ain't wrong.
The Nintendo Switch.
It is on the Nintendo Switch. You did not play the Switch version, but no. I actually did. And I mean, it is Kentucky Route Zero. It runs very well on the Switch. They do a good job of coordinating the two directional sticks so you can select stuff and all that, but I was really pleased with the performance of that game, but the game you actually want to talk about is not Kentucky Route Zero.
It's not. It's called Florence. It was also at the Annapurna booth.
Okay.
Florence is... The best way I can think of to describe it is an interactive graphic novel.
Okay.
But rather than being a motion comic, or one of those things you'd see on a Marvel website,
sure,
to tie into the new Spider-Man or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a game where there is some interactivity, but there's a lot of focus on art and minimalist design.
Okay.
It's about just a woman living in a city, living her life.
Sure.
And she meets a guy, and that's kind of it.
Okay.
I've really found myself becoming more drawn towards games with little incident recently. Valhalla is, I think, a really great example of games that center on smaller, more personal stories.
Of course.
Even in a fantastical setting.
Yeah.
It's still ordinary, it's still relatable. And the more I get, I don't want to say the older I get because I'm still really young, but the more time I spend with games, the more I find myself intrigued by games that are banal in a way.
Yeah.
Because when we think of games, the primary mode of interaction is violence.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We played some Street Fighter.
I played some violent video games.
Love them.
Yeah.
Doom.
That's it.
That shit's crazy.
That's
Street Fighter and Doom.
Yeah,
Yep.
Doom's the only violent video game.
Played some Mortal Kombat.
Oh, we did play Mortal Kombat, yeah.
A lot of violence this weekend.
Yeah.
But I think I think people trying to solve the challenge of making ordinary life interactive has always been really fascinating to me, even when they don't completely nail it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even in Deadly Premonition, you're drinking coffee.
Yeah.
You're sending your suit
have
to the
a health
dry
meter.
cleaners. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And from what I understand, this is that same kind of ethos, but applied to an iOS game.
No.
Really?
It's not simulation. It's just you're being presented with scenes from this person's life. And they've sort of gamified it by you're talking to your mom and there's a little bar that fills up for a lot of the actions in the game.
So
you just tap, okay, yes I know, okay. in sort of a pretty realistic simulation of a boring check-in conversation with your parents.
Yeah.
You have a bar that fills up, and then the conversation is over, and you're just, like, kind of going through the motions until that conversation is done.
Yeah.
And then,
So this is a game on iOS, right? It was demoed on an iPad.
Yeah, it was demoed on an iPad. I also liked one of the date scenes where she goes out with this guy. They basically present this conversation with empty word bubbles that are colorized, I think, like blue for her and like reddish for him. Mm-hmm. And you have this word bubble in a bunch of puzzle pieces that will fit inside the word bubble. Mm-hmm. And as the dates go on, the puzzle pieces become larger and a lot easier to fit inside the circle to symbolize that they're becoming more comfortable with each other. You don't have to work as hard for conversation.
Okay.
It's a really interesting way to gamify and
represent.
Represents one word. I mean, like, it's an interesting way to turn a ordinary human interaction into a game mechanic.
Into a game, right, yeah.
And that sort of stuff has always been really interesting to me, and to see it represented on a platform that so many people own. I don't know if it's an iPad game exclusively, but it's certainly on iOS in some form.
Yeah.
To see that kind of thing represented on such an easily accessible platform with such a distinct art style, with a really good like audio design, good UI, I think this thing could be a crossover hit in a way that people don't really expect, because for a lot of people, I think people will find this game relatable.
Sure.
And whether it's a huge hit or not, it doesn't matter, but I half suspect that people will be talking about this game in the same way they talk about bingeable water cooler television.
Okay.
In like, hey, did you watch all of American Vandal when it premiered on Netflix? And it drops on Friday, and by Monday everyone's talking about it. Mm-hmm. And then that's the conversation at work, or for us who work on the internet and find ourselves, perusing a lot of hot takes on a lot of think pieces.
Sure.
That'll dominate the conversation for a week. Yeah. I half suspect that the low bar of entry for Florence and the relatively high quality of the game, at least from what I've seen so far, will have people really interested. Yeah. And then because it's such a accessible format, it'll have a lot of people interested in trying the game, whereas they maybe wouldn't before.
Yeah, because I was going to say, when we were talking about our plan of attack for today at PAX South, and you told me that you wanted to see an iPad game, I thought you were out of your mind. And then I saw you actually playing it, and I was like, oh, this looks really compelling.
Yeah.
I didn't see a whole lot of it. I saw you kind of decorating an interior space with like a turntable.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite parts. It's like after the girl and the guy move in together, then there's like a little minigame where you gotta like figure out what from her apartment gets to stay and what gets placed in storage, whereas like what stuff that he owns goes into storage and what like goes into the house. Like what do you replace?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's super, super interesting because there's even some ambient storytelling there, because there's a picture of her and her mom, but there's also a picture of her and the guy and his whole family.
Yeah.
So, like, there's an implied strained relationship between Florence and her mom, but it seems like she's really happy with this guy and his family.
Yeah.
Does that take the place of the mom photo for you and your story that you're telling?
Yeah.
It does actually kind of remind me of Kentucky Route Zero in a way, because you're not just defining the future, you're also sketching out someone's past.
Sure.
Is that the same? Is that just the same publisher, or is that the same dev as Kentucky Route?
It's Annapurna. Annapurna is bringing Kentucky Route Zero to consoles. Kentucky Route Zero is, I think, self-published on Steam.
Okay.
I think Annapurna going into games is really, really interesting. And I think enough people are not talking about how crazy it is that this indie film studio is getting into video games. Like, I'm surprised Blumhouse or like A24 haven't dipped their toes into this as well.
Yeah, that'd be pretty compelling. I didn't even know it was like an indie film studio. They did have a lot of really cool looking games there. I didn't play a whole lot because I was filming for most of the convention. I was doing video work, but they had the new game by I guess the Katamari guy called like Wadum or something like that. I don't know if that's right, but I don't remember what it's called, but it looked really fun. Michael, you played some games though. Do you want to talk about the games that you played at PAX?
I played video games at PAX South 2018.
Good. I hope you wouldn't just do something stupid like sitting in the room and watching Storage Wars for all day, every
I would
day.
never do that.
No.
Live PD,
Yeah, live
though.
PD on the other hand.
All day, every
we're
day.
talking.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. So you played some games, but I know you played one that you're particularly kind of excited about, or one that you want to talk about at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, I played quite a few things that I hope are good.
Yeah.
But there was one that I thought, if I played this right now,
it would be good.
That's 20 hours of my life gone. See you later. See you guys next week. It was nice knowing you.
Yeah.
That was Frostpunk, which, you know what? Every game here, bad name.
Yeah, what was the space game we saw?
I told you we'd forget this.
We were in the Chili's not an hour
Limit
ago.
Limit Theory.
Okay, Ryan remembered it.
I
you didn't
remembered
even see the fucking game.
No. Mm-mm.
They're for good games. They're for games that I want to remember.
Limit Theory is a really neat game.
Yeah.
It will have to take like me seeing it on Steam, like, oh, come soon. Like, oh, great.
Yeah.
But yeah, Frostpunk is from 11-bit. I think the publisher or the dev?
They're the publisher.
Okay.
I believe.
It is essentially like a single map. He said there might be other places, but the campaign is a single map. You are a group of survivors, and you have found this generator. And the generator is your life.
You should explain real quick that you're surviving like a Snowpiercer style winter apocalypse.
I was getting there. Yeah, and with that generator, you can turn it on. It gives you heat, and heat is life. It is everything. But what you're also trying to do is build up so that you can get everything else, like food and shelter and
hospitals,
medical attention. Yeah. And it is just a resource balancing game of you have 30, I don't know how many, but you have like 30 workers. Mm-hmm. So you need coal to run the generator. But you also need wood to build new things.
Yes.
And you need steel to build new things. Things will come up like you can build tents, which don't keep as much warmth or room as many people, but they're cheaper and quicker to build. Or you can build actual fucking homes that will keep more warm, but cost more, take longer. You're going to have to collect things, and that means more workers going out and collecting things. That game is complicated as shit.
Yeah, I watched you play most of it, like, for the whole demo, and I know you still haven't played this game, but it reminds me a lot of Banished, which is a game where you are people who've been banished from their colony, and you go out to set a new colony. You know, you collect resources, you build houses, but one thing I really liked about Frostpunk that isn't in Banished is that game has a lot of sort of moral choices that you have to make.
Yeah, so normally those games would be resource balancing of, okay, I've sent all my workers to do wood, and now I'm running out of coal, so I gotta switch that. This one sort of changes it where they'll start complaining like, oh, we're starting to get sick. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I need to build a medical facility, and if you don't fulfill that promise, their discontent and hope will start to drop, or discontent will rise, or hope will fall, and then they'll start to work less. And then once you build the medical facility, like you said, they'll start having moral choices of, okay, now you have this really sick person. Mm-hmm. Okay, what do? Do you try to treat them and bring them back to life, and put more effort and time and workers towards that? Or do you just lop off a leg and go about your business and then just get to the next sick person? Yeah,
and each of those different decisions has an overall bearing on like how the game turns out, basically.
Yeah, there was another one where it was, do you want to build a cemetery, which would have meant resources and time, and not to mention like space, like physical space taking up, because you don't have a small map, but you don't have like a lot of room. I can see where that... Because it's like a little circle. The engine thing is huge, and then you build out around it, like out in a circle.
Yeah.
Or you can just build a snow pit, which is just a fucking pit, and you just throw the bodies in there, and you're done. It's quicker, but it's kind of, it raises discontent or lowers hope of like, yeah, that's the body pit.
Yeah.
So you got like a hope meter and a despair meter.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And my despair meter was really high, and my hope meter was really low.
That was interesting because we played the, I keep wanting to say Snowpiercer, the Frostpunk demo. You and kind of our mutual friend Eric were both playing that game. And it seemed like you two were making completely different decisions as to how to run your respective cities.
Yeah.
And I think that's really compelling that there's so many different ways with these kinds of games that you can sort of tackle the essential problems that it throws at you.
Well, it would have things like, it would have the problems of, hey, there's a lot of homeless, and you can make a promise, I'll build more tents, I'll build more houses, or maybe later. Mm-hmm. But then it has problems where it's like, okay, now you sign a law. And that, like, the medical thing and the bodies was a law. Like, this is what we do here. We throw bodies in the fucking snow. Yeah. That is what we do. Or, and then there's, like, there's the research stuff where if you can build workshops and you want to build workshops because you can research, I think one of them was like a scouting, building where people would actually go out and scout the outside areas. Or, what was another? Oh, another one was like a smaller version of the big steam engine you had, and it would warm. So as you grew out, you're farther away from the steam engine, which warms everything up. And then you can build these little ones. Okay. And that'll warm up those areas. And there's a lot of micromanaging. There's like, you can set those to run at certain times of day. Yeah. Which will reduce the impact they have, but save more coal that you produce. Yeah. So it is very much like, it is a lot of choices, but moral, like resource gathering, it puts a lot of those things constantly on edge. I was constantly like, okay, instead of 10 workers at coal, 8. Yeah. But 15 go collect wood, but only 9 go collect steel. And then the wood would run out and you have to go do something else to collect wood. And yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of micromanagement inherent in games like that, but I also find that once you reach sort of a certain point in your development, you can stop worrying about so much, but then you just have to worry about other things. Like, you know, once you hit a stable population, it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about moving 3 people off wood to go get steel and like jostling all this around, but it's something that as you continue to play it kind of compounds the challenge more and more, where even if certain aspects get easier, you start to worry about, you know, the scale of this settlement and that sort of thing. But totally. I don't know how deep the demo was or how long they kind of let you play that for. I think I could have kept playing it. I don't know if there was... I never saw anyone beat it or die. Yeah. I just saw people kind of go like, well, I've been doing this for 40 minutes. Yeah. I need to walk away. Yeah, pretty much. It seemed like a fairly open-ended demo, which I can respect. And that was on PC, right? PC only, and then I forgot who one of us asked about whether or not it's coming with the consoles, and he was kind of vague about it, so I don't know. But yeah, it's a PC only. It looked done. Yeah, it looked done. I think he said it was coming out Q1 of 2018. Yeah, which made me excited. Yeah, that game looked really great. I didn't play a lot of games, like I said, but that was the one I was most interested in of what I saw of it. I guess I can go ahead and talk about the few things that I played, unless you have something else you'd like to say about Frostpunk. It looked good. It was a very nice game. Well, since you didn't play a lot, is there like a specific game that stood out, even if you just saw it? Yeah, there may have been a couple. The 2 games I played were Kentucky Route Zero. Well, I played 3 games. I played Kentucky Route Zero on Switch, which, you know... Hell yeah, you did! It was good. I mean, it was a good game. I played a little bit of Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, which will probably be out by the time this podcast goes up. I mean, it comes out, like, tomorrow, basically. It comes out on the 16th. And that was fun. You know, I'm just getting into fighting games this year, but the couple rounds of Street Fighter V I played, I was pretty into. If you like stuff with arcade editions, I guess check that out. Like if you've never played that game before, but you want to, that seems like a really good in for it, because I think a lot more people will be playing now that that's coming out. And, you know, you get like the DLC and that kind of stuff. So that was fun. I played a little bit of Dusk, which is a kind of retro polygon like aesthetic shooter, kind of like Doom and Quake, where everything's kind of industrial and sinister. And that was by what? New Blood, I think, is the studio. That's a really good question. I'm fairly certain it was New Blood, because I remember seeing their logo. They were out. They're at least the publishers. Yeah, they were out at that show with Dusk, and I think it's called Tonight We Riot, which I wasn't able to try. But Dusk was fun. You know, if you like kind of those fast-paced arena shooters. I don't know if it's multiplayer, but there's like a wave mode where you're in like an arena. So I use the term arena shooters, even if that's not what that means. So there was looking up information about Dusk. Good. I have an email. You do. Okay, excellent. So the publisher is New Blood. The developer is a person. Good. David. Yeah. Oh boy. I'm sorry, David. David Boreanaz. Zimansky? Okay, well, congrats to David. I played your game. It was pretty solid.
Congratulations, David.
Yeah, congratulations, David. You did it. Not much else that I played. I played some stuff in the arcade, played some old Mortal Kombat, but aside from Frostpunk, which was really kind of the main game that I latched onto here, because I really do enjoy those kinds of games, I can't really think if there's anything I specifically want to single out. So, why don't we just get into some general kind of PAX discussion for the
I took my pants off on the show floor.
You did. Mike Casamano did indeed.
Michael now has a Bud Light Lime in his hand. Now it's a fucking party.
Yeah, so we've got a couple things we'd like to discuss. First off, yeah, Mike did take his pants off at the show floor. Would you like to tell that story, or should we wait until the video comes out?
The video will go up. It was for a perfectly legitimate reason.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
What
are you fucking talking about? Nothing of that was legitimate.
Content is always a legitimate reason. Ugh. And hopefully not long after this podcast comes out, we'll have a PAX South experience video for you.
Oh, you'll see it.
In which you'll see the full tale. But we also have a new segment on the podcast that we'd like to call Michael's Indulgence, where Michael will try a new beer for the first time and tell us on the podcast what it tastes like. So for the first ever Michael's Indulgence, we have bought him 2 large bottles, and by we I mean Mike Casamano. Would you like to say something here?
Yeah, I'd like to sing a jingle for Michael's Indulgence.
Okay, sing a jingle for Michael's Indulgence.
Michael's Indulgence. He's gonna drink a beer. Will he like it? Will he hate it? Why don't you tune in and hear?
Thank you. So on today's Michael's Indulgence, Michael will be drinking a very large bottle of Bud Light Lime, and he'll be reporting to us the flavor. So Michael, if there's anything you'd like to say to the folks at home, feel free. If not, just start chugging, my friend.
It's a pint and 6 ounces. 4.2% alcohol. It's a premium light beer with natural lime flavor.
Good to know. Have you ever had lime beer before?
Lime beer? I've had like Coronas and such
with limes in them.
A real Vin Diesel type, I see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how people always describe it.
So it's safe to assume that you've had beer with lime in it.
Yes.
But have you ever had a lime flavored beer?
There is a chance I may have had a Bud Light Lime at some point.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a very high probability that I was very drunk when I had it, and thus did not taste it.
Fair enough. So let's get Michael's Indulgence started. Whenever you're ready, my friend, just start chugging.
Michael's Indulgence. I forgot the lyrics I said earlier.
Okay, well, he has a sip. He's looking very frowny. Would you like to describe the flavor, Michael?
What? Take a sip and then switch in your mouth for a little bit.
Hold on a moment.
All right.
Okay,
shout out to the fridge that we're definitely going to have to edit out.
Listen, there's not going to be anything edited out of this nonsense. It's not even showing up on the waveform. Michael, what do you think of the Bud Light?
Okay, so this tastes like a Bud Light with the aftertaste of some sort of fucking, like, Starburst? Or,
No kidding.
It is like, it is not a single flavor.
Uh-huh.
It is not like a punch of flavor of Bud Light and lime and one final thrust into your taste buds to remind you that living isn't really worth it. No, instead it's Bud Light followed by just fucking lime flavoring.
Here, let me get a sip.
Yeah, here, fucking indulge.
Are we going to pass it around? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I don't like beer. This is maybe the 3rd beer I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Mike Casamano.
You might hate the first part if you don't like beer.
Don't like beer.
But that second part, because the aftertaste of beer is what made me not like it.
Yeah.
So
all right,
go
I'm
ahead.
going to give it a shot. Someone else sing while I drink this.
Michael's Indulgence. Now it's Corky who's trying the beer, and he looks like he just got kicked in the nuts. What does it taste like?
I wouldn't say that's what it looked like. It's all right.
There was a moment. There was a brief moment.
There was an immediate moment where it hit my tongue and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then it was like, that's actually not that bad.
It wasn't like an entire business.
He's wiping the goddamn bottle on his shirt.
I am. I'm phobic about things that happen at conventions, especially considering how cursed this entire experience
this show has been pretty cursed.
I feel like I'm the most qualified person here to be drinking a Bud Light Lime because I'm wearing a baby blue shirt with ukuleles and palm trees on it right now.
The video game character ukulele.
Yeah. It's very good. I thought this one had Hula Girls on it, but I think that's the other one. So I'm going to get a quick sniff here. That sure does smell like a Bud Light. Okay, Bottoms up. If anyone wants to sing, feel free.
No singing.
Ryan.
It's like drinking a Bud Light, and then there's the faint aftertaste of lime Windex
Exactly
cleaner.
what he said. Yeah. Exactly what he said.
It's two distinct flavors.
I can't see. I wish I could provide some more incisive commentary, but Michael pretty much got it on the first one. I can't. I have trouble drinking citrus flavored things like beer because it makes me think I'm drinking a Windex cleaner when I do it. I used to eat shrimp ramen, and one time I bought the shrimp ramen with lime, and it was like somebody had dunked like toilet cleaner into that thing. Anyway, this has been the first episode of Michael's Indulgence. I think we can all come to a consensus that Bud Light Lime tastes like Bud Light. And there's lime.
I have no frame of reference for what Bud Light tastes like.
That tastes like a Bud Light.
It tastes
like the first part of this was a Bud Light.
Great. Yeah. So the part that I really hated.
Yeah. Good.
And then the aftertaste was the lime.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Guess who has to drink the rest of this in the other one that's in the fridge?
It's you.
Yay!
Yeah.
In many ways, this is everyone's indulgence.
It really is, you know.
No, it's not. It's mine, because I have to drink the other one and this one.
That's true. We're going to tape the other one to your hand.
Yeah, great.
We bought Scotch tape for that.
Oh,
we
yeah, that'll work
Scotch
well.
tape. Duct tape was too expensive.
We're going to use a lot of Scotch tape.
Yeah, all 19.4 yards.
The duct tape was like $13, and neither Mike nor myself could afford it. Speaking of which, do we have anything else we'd like to talk about PAX?
Yeah, let's talk about Michael's harrowing airport story.
Michael, do you want to talk about this story, or would you rather just move on with your life?
No, I can tell it one final time, because I feel like the more I tell it, the more the gods will feel bad for me.
Yeah.
And thus treat me like a normal human being traveling back.
So, unfortunately, since you've been in the same room with me for more than 24 hours, I've sucked all your life energy out and all your luck. So like a vampire, I feed on you, and then you go off into the world and your luck gets worse.
Great.
That's how I've never gotten the karmic imbalance that I have so well deserved over the years. Like, realistically, I should be struck by lightning for all my crimes. But because I just, like, sap all your good energy, that means I get off scot-free.
I am pretty much out of energy.
Yeah, we're all dead.
Yeah.
All right. I was flying from Tampa to San Antonio with what I thought would be a very hefty and good layover. You're right there?
I just want some water.
All right.
Cool.
I thought want to break up the flow of the show.
Too late. You can't do anything in here without breaking up the flow. We're like a foot
shitting myself.
You're fucking tiptoeing around.
We're like a foot away from each other. You can't do this.
Oh, shut the fuck.
Great.
So
sorry,
I had a 2.5 hour layover in Houston. And then a short.
Bang, boom, clatter. Is that any better?
It's
fucking better.
It's great because then at least now
a bunch of fucking noise.
At least now it's a bit instead of you like just trying to sneak by.
Christ Almighty.
So on the way there, my flight took an additional hour and 15 minutes to land.
Sure.
Due to some thunderstorms, and I thought, okay, whatever.
Yeah, reasonable.
I got a 2.5 hour layover. Take as much time as you want. And for a split second, apparently, they were about to land in San Antonio, and I could have walked off the plane hours early. But the weather abated, and they landed. And it turns out we were one of only a handful of planes that did that. And when that happens, all the other planes have gone to all these other airports. That's apparently bad if you, say, want a pilot on your plane. Because our pilots, who were coming from Belize, landed in San Antonio. Then needed to fly back to Houston. And if they did that, they would have had to have cleared customs. And that would have taken a while. So we sat and waited for news of these Belize pilots to come in.
For tales of these air travelers to be passed down.
And initially it was they said, oh yeah, your next flight will be fine. It'll be on time. And then it was like, oh, 20 minutes late. 30 minutes late. An hour late. About 2 hours late. They finally said, hey, if this plane does leave, by the time they get here, they will not be able to fly any more flights due to FAA restrictions. Great. So we had a plane. It had been sitting there. We had no pilots. For some reason, which now is a godsend, but for some reason United refused to cancel our flight.
They were very adamant about it, from what I understand.
They were getting phone calls from what I can only assume is United's headquarters in Chicago about how they would not cancel this flight. And they would delay it and delay it and delay it. I went to a bar. I went to a pizza place, which was practically hell on earth. Everything was closing around me. There were other flights literally at the other gates waiting for the same thing.
God.
And finally they announced, we think we have pilots.
You think you have pilots.
Mind you, by now the stewardesses have left the plane. And have gone home.
Yeah.
So another, wave of stewardesses have gone to the new planes, and they say, oh, pilots are coming, we think. Then they say, all right, the pilots are clearing security. They're on their way. And it was like, oh, whew.
Yeah.
That's great. No pilots. The pilots were trying to clear security at Airside C, where we were. They sent them to Airside C. Guess which airside had already closed security for the night? Airside C. So they had to go to E.
Well, C stands for closed.
Clearly. E stands for everybody come here. This is where security's open.
Yeah.
They trammed them over to E, went through security, I guess made them walk all the way to C, and then one by one pilots would go to different gates. And so we got, the first one was ours, then 4 or 5 pilots go by, and then finally our pilot gets there. So around midnight, we took off.
Yes.
And I finally fucking made it.
And I picked you up from the San Antonio airport at 1:30 in the morning. Yeah.
And I was fast asleep by that point.
Yes, you were. I am shocked that you did not wake up when we came back.
How long did that whole process take, Michael, from getting into Houston to leaving?
4 hours. Because my flight, well, no. Because my flight was supposed to leave at 8. I got in an hour, 15 minutes late, so 5.5 hours in the Houston airport, Airside C. Shout out, my new home. That's where I live. Check out my driver's license. It doesn't say Tampa. It says Airside C, Houston, Texas. It's the image of the Undertaker.
Yeah, well, once you're somewhere for long enough, you get squatters' rights.
Yeah.
So y'all basically claimed the Airside C of the Houston airport.
When we were in the car on the way back, I said here, and I meant Houston.
Oh my God!
Because I was in a Houston state of mind.
You were trapped in Houston,
and I was very depressed when I said that word.
Yeah. You did not seem like you were in a good state when I picked you up from that airport.
I was not. I'm still not.
Yeah, I'm glad we've had some chances to loosen up a bit though this weekend. Is there anything else you want to talk about out of PAX? Any incisive commentary about the show floor that we need to make known to our audience at home?
So there's this show on A&E called Live PD.
There is a show called Live PD. It's terrible.
Okay. Both of you are right. Here's the thing about Live PD.
It's good.
It is the most dystopian television show I've ever seen in my life.
It's quite distressing.
But I can't stop watching it.
No, me neither.
So Live PD, here's the elevator pitch, right? Imagine Cops.
Okay.
That classic daytime staple Cops.
Sure.
Bad boys, what are you going to do? But imagine if it was just, instead of being filmed and edited, imagine if it was live streamed like on Twitch.
Yes.
Imagine if, say, 5 or 6 different police forces across the country were being followed by this team of live streamers while there's this control center of some goons in front of laptops monitoring feeds and some awful hosts, and they're just breaking down what's happening in all these incidents. But here's the thing. Nothing happens in most of them. Nothing ever happens.
Yeah, Live PD is basically the waiting for Godot of daytime television, I would say. It is an absurdist exercise in which nothing ever happens. I feel like I'm in purgatory when I watch Live PD.
It's wild. It's just cops going up to people for really inane stuff. And then
as cops are wont to do.
Absolutely. And then people being
let me make that very clear. This is not a pro-cop podcast.
No, this is not a pro-cop podcast.
Yeah.
And people are always fucking terrified of those cops.
Yeah.
As they should be. And the cops don't know how to react because if you became a cop, you don't think there's anything wrong with cops.
Of course, yeah.
And then those cops always, like, they never know how to respond in the right way, so people only become more terrified. And it's this weird cycle where it's just, like, this really tense conversation over stuff like, oh, you're littering too much around your car.
Yeah.
You're eating fast food in your car in front of, like, a closed business and you're, like, littering a bit too much.
Yeah.
Can you stop that? And then it just, like, keeps escalating, but not in a way that ever feels, like, dangerous or, like, even fascist. It's just like,
stupid.
It's just uncomfortable and stupid.
Yep. So, Live PD for me, I think, is maybe the cleanest slice of the American psyche that's ever been put on television.
It's insane.
Because it's unedited. Nobody involved in that is a professional in any sense of the word.
No.
And nothing ever happens because it's completely unsensationalized.
But it's shot and edited like something is happening.
Yeah.
So, like, constantly there's like people like zooming in really intensely onto things.
But it's over stuff like somebody had a seatbelt unbuckled.
Yeah.
Like, it's shit like that. That did lead to some interesting places.
Yeah.
What I mean is that when you think of, like, a cop show, you think of, like, high-speed pursuits and stuff like that.
And then that's how they advertise it.
Yeah, that's how they advertise it, but someone at Live PD forgot to get the memo because all they ever show on that show is police responding to shit like, oh, this kid shot someone with a BB gun, or oh, this woman's seatbelt is unbuckled, or oh, like you said, there's McDonald's trash in the parking lot. Like, it's all crap like that, and it's such an unbelievable amount of crossed wires in terms of what the show is trying to be and how nobody involved at any point in the production knows how to get it there. Not the police, not the camera crew, not the host, not the people working the board, and certainly not the editors.
Yeah.
It is such a horrible...
There can be no editors.
There isn't. It's a nightmare. It's like... You see, it's such, like...
It's so good.
It's my favorite TV show.
It's so good.
In terms of both what it physically presents and what it represents as a television show, it is the most pure distillation of America as a country right now, I would say.
It makes me think Black Mirror was not on the nose enough.
Yeah.
Like, I take back everything I've said about that show.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It is the logical extension of the Twitch IRL thing.
Yeah.
But it also never ends.
No.
Yeah.
There's never like
it's
Cops has an
Cops
has like an intro.
Oh my fucking god!
Cops
this
has
is
an
the part
intro.
that makes it like this is the part that really solidified it for us because we were just like chilling after the show and we were just like putting on some television and then Live PD was on because like Michael was like, oh, I hope Cops is on because it's like that's the show you have in the background. That's
a dumb
the background
show.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we came across something that looked like Cops, and the thing about Cops is. You know, I made that joke earlier when I was referencing the Cops intro. Like you said, Cops has an intro.
Yes, in segments.
Right.
There are 3 segments. It's over.
When you're watching, like, a marathon of Live PD...
Which I guess it's a marathon. I have no idea.
No way of knowing. Because it all just, like, blends together.
They always use the same bumper when they're coming back from commercials.
Yeah.
There's no theme song, there's no credits, there's no nothing. It just keeps going.
Yeah, hypothetically, it just ends, but you have no way of knowing, because it just... There's no way to tell where one episode begins and the other ends.
Because they don't do segments. What they do is, like, they'll cut between all these different feeds they've got based on
if anything is vaguely...
Yeah. And then they'll just bring stuff up as, like, a resolution later, because one of the best examples I can think of this is we were watching it, and they pulled this guy over. They're like, oh, we think he stole this car. You know, he looks really suspicious. Like, he's got, like, prior arrests. Like, we think he stole this car. And so they question him about it, and he gives, you know, those really, like, lame excuse, like, oh, like, this is my mom's car, like, she just lets me drive it. Nah, man, it's totally fine. Like, I don't have the registration, but it's cool. He sounds, you know, like, really suspicious, but then they cut away from it because they're just having a conversation where nothing happens for, like, 3 minutes straight. And then, like, half an hour later, the host comes back on. He's like, hey, we've got an update on that situation in Richmond, Virginia. It turns out that guy really did have permission from his mom to drive the car.
No, here's the wildest thing. Here's what you missed, though. Is that when the host was doing that thing, there was, like, a little bumper that said aired previously on, like, one...
Yeah.
Whatever. So he wasn't referencing something that happened 30 minutes ago. I mean, he was to us, the viewer. He was referencing something that happened a week ago.
Yeah. Well, it's like with Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack. Like, they would do updates on, like, you know, like, the next week's episode and all that. But watching it in a marathon is such a disorienting experience that I thought I was in hell.
It's like solitary confinement.
It really
you have no concept of time.
It truly is.
If we had the windows closed, I would not be able to tell you whether 30 minutes had passed or 3 days.
Yep.
God, what a nightmare. Anyway, I think that pretty much sums it up for our PAX South experience.
Yeah.
We talked about games, we talked about bad airports, and we talked about live PD.
We went to the Margaritaville.
Yeah, we did go to the Margaritaville, but maybe I'll tell that story on the podcast proper this next week.
How would you rate not just the convention? Because, we kind of sound sour about it at the beginning. I thought this was actually pretty good.
It was fun.
How would you rate...
It's a big indicate.
How would you rate the entire experience of PAX South?
Simultaneously, 1 out of 5 and 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I would give it a 4 out of 5 episodes of Live PD.
How many is that?
Is that we watched 1 episode yesterday over the course of 8 hours.
That could be 4 episodes. Could be either 2 hours of Live PD or like 12 hours of Live PD.
Live PD episodes are when you start watching and when you stop watching.
It's like when you go to the butcher shop and they let you like cut however much meat you want. It's like, just tell me when.
It's like the Brazilian steakhouse.
Yeah, it really is.
It is like the Brazilian steakhouse.
Michael, how would you rate this PAX South?
It is simultaneously the first hour I was stuck in the Houston airport and the last hour I was stuck in the Houston airport.
Perfect. Well, I think that about does it, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Michael and Mike, for joining me here in San Antonio for a PAX South weekend. Stay tuned for our video coverage, which will be going up on videogamechoochoo.com. And as always, keep it frosty. I'm turning off the fan. This sucks.